The exposed status effect is represented by this skull symbol, and what it means is that the killer can immediately put you into the dying state with one melee attack from full health. As long as the icon remains on your screen, the exposed status effect is in play. This status effect can be applied through specific killer perks, powers, and add-ons. When it is applied, the thing that caused the status effect will appear on the left side of your screen. Additionally, you will hear this sound and get this special effect on your screen every time exposed is applied. Now, I want to emphasize the melee attack part because the exposed status effect will not apply with killer powers. One example is the Huntress. If you have the exposed status effect on you and you get hit by a hatchet, you will not go into the dying state because you did not get hit by a melee attack. Another example is the Legion. Getting hit by Feral Frenzy while you are exposed does not down you. Now there is one exception with exposed not affecting the killer's power, and that is with the two chainsaw killers, Hillbilly and Leatherface. Now normally chainsaws do insta-down survivors, but there is an add-on called the Speed Limiter, which makes it so that chainsawed survivors do not go into the dying state, they only get injured one health state, and as a reward, the killer gets more points in the devious category for chainsawing survivors. So if the killer has the Speed Limiter add-on equipped to their chainsaw, and exposed is active and they hit you with that chainsaw, you will go into the dying state. There are two survivor perks that can counter the exposed status effect. First is Borrow Time, one of Bill's unique perks. It says, after unhooking a survivor within the killer's terror radius for 15 seconds, any damage taken that would put the unhooked survivor into the dying state will instead apply the deep wound status effect. The survivor has 10, 15, or 20 seconds to mend themselves. If the unhooked survivor takes any damage while affected by deep wound, or if the deep wound timer ends, the unhooked survivor is immediately put into the dying state. This means that if the killer hits a survivor that has just been saved when in their terror radius, they will not go into the dying state even if exposed is on them. Instead, it will apply the deep wound status effect, which I go over more in another video, which I will link here. The second perk that can counter exposed is Ash's unique perk, Medal of Man. After you earn 3 protection hit scoring events, the perk activates. Once activated, the next occasion that will put you into the dying state from the injured state is ignored. The next time you heal back to full health, your aura will be revealed to the killer when you are further than 12, 14, or 16 meters from the killer. The perk will deactivate the next time you are put into the dying state. Increases your chance to be the killer's obsession, and the killer can only be obsessed with one survivor at a time. Now, Medal of Man is a bit more complicated, and it only protects you from exposed if you are injured, so it does not absorb a hit if you're fully healed. That is very important to know. The protection only applies while injured. So it is a semi-counter to the exposed status effect because you already have to be injured to use it. Now that you know what the exposed status is and what it does, let's take a look at everything that currently applies it, starting with Michael Myers. Michael Myers is one of 2 killers that has the exposed status effect built into their killer power. To sum up his power quickly, he must stalk survivors to upgrade his ability. It starts at tier 1 and goes up to tier 3. Now tier 3 of his power lasts for a limited amount of time, as it allows Myers to apply the exposed status to all survivors in the trial, as well as increasing his terror radius, vault speed, and lunge range. As long as you see the exposed icon on your screen, Myers will be able to down survivors in one hit. The unique thing about Myers is that you will also hear his theme song play when he goes into tier 3. And then again when he goes back down to tier 2, which means that exposed is no longer in effect. The second killer with exposed built in is Ghostface. I'm just going to quickly go over his power. He activates his power in Night Shroud to go into stealth mode, and his terror radius and red stain will be hidden. While his power is active, he can stalk survivors, but unlike Myers, each survivor has their own stalk progress, which only he can see by looking at their profiles in the bottom left corner. Survivors cannot see this stock progress. When he stalks a survivor for 5 seconds, they will be notified and have the exposed status effect applied to them for 45 seconds. This the survivors can see as well. Ghostface can mark multiple survivors at the same time, so he is not limited to stalking only one survivor. Survivors can take Ghostface out of stealth by looking at him for 1.5 seconds, and then his power will go on cooldown. His power also goes on cooldown if he makes a missed or hit attack, or gets stunned while in stealth. Now let's take a look at all the perks that apply the exposed status effect. First up is Hex No One Escapes Death, which is the perk that is usually associated with the exposed status. It is a general perk that can spawn in any killer's bloodweb, and what it says is once the exit gates are powered, if there is a dull totem remaining on the map, this hex will be applied to it. While this hex is active, survivors suffer from the exposed status effect, and your movement speed is increased by 2, 3, or 4%. The hex effects persist as long as the related hex totem is standing. If the killer hits a survivor after the gates have been powered with this perk equipped, all survivors will get the exposed notification on their screen, as well as getting the curse status and being told what rank of Hex No One Escapes Death is in play. When the totem powering Noed is destroyed, the perk will be deactivated. If all the dual totems on the map have been cleansed before the gates have been powered, Noed will not activate when the gates are powered, since there is no totem to use. Hex Devour Hope, a unique perk to the Hag. When a survivor is rescued from a hook at least 24 meters away, Devour Hope receives a token. At 2 tokens, gain a 3, 4, or 5% haste status effect 10 seconds after hooking a survivor for a duration of 10 seconds. At 3 tokens, survivors suffer from the exposed status effect. At 5 tokens, grants the ability to kill survivors by your own hand. The hex effects persist as long as the related hex totem is standing. Basically, once the killer has gained 3 tokens, they have access to the exposed status. Similar to Noed, once they hit a survivor, all other survivors will be notified that the exposed status is in play, as well as what perk is causing it. To remove the exposed effect, the survivor must cleanse the hex totem that is powering Devour Hope, just like with Hex No One Escapes Death. Make your choice. This is a unique perk to the pig. It says, when a survivor rescues another from a hook at least 32 meters away from you, make your choice triggers and applies the exposed status effect on the rescuer for 40, 50, or 60 seconds. Make your choice has a cooldown of 60 seconds. So for survivors, the skull icon indicating exposed is applied will appear on your screen once you save a survivor when the killer is far away, and the time remaining will be represented by the filled outer circle. When this outer circle drains all the way, the exposed status effect will fall off. Iron Maiden, which is a unique perk to the Legion. You open lockers 30, 40, or 50% faster. Survivors who exit lockers suffer from the exposed status effect for 15 seconds, and their location is revealed for 4 seconds. Hex Haunted Ground, which is a unique perk to the Spirit. 2 trapped hex totems will spawn in the trial. When one of the 2 trapped hex totems is cleansed by a survivor, all survivors suffer from the exposed status effect for 40, 50, or 60 seconds. And finally, Rancor, which is another unique perk to the Spirit. You become obsessed with one survivor. Each time a generator is completed, the obsession sees your aura for 5, 4, or 3 seconds. Each time a generator is completed, all survivor locations are revealed to you for 3 seconds. Once all the generators are completed, the obsession has the exposed status effect and the killer can kill the obsession. Unfortunately, the exposed caused by Rancor will never go away, so your only choice is to try and get out of the game as fast as possible. And those are all the perks that apply the exposed status. I just want to say again quickly, if you pay attention to the left side of your screen when the exposed status effect is applied, it will tell you what perk and which rank of the perk is causing the exposed status effect. This is important to know because you want to know how long you are going to be affected by the exposed status. and you can rule out which perks the killer has. Now let's take a look at which add-ons apply the exposed status effect. The Clown is the only killer that has an add-on that actually applies the exposed effect, and it is his ultra rare add-on, Redhead's Pinky Finger, which says that it applies the exposed status effect to survivors that are directly hit by a bottle of his tonic. Now, while this is the only add-on that applies the exposed effect, I just want to bring to your attention some other add-ons that will immediately put survivors into the dying state, but will not give you the exposed status effect. The Huntress's Ultra Rare Iridescent Head add-on inflicts dying upon the victim and reduces the maximum carried hatchet amount by 4. So while it does not apply the exposed status, since it does not affect her melee attacks, the hatchets she throws will put survivors into the dying state automatically, similar to the exposed status effect. And finally, we have the Trapper's very rare add-on, Holding Stone, which says it inflicts dying upon the trapped victim if they free themselves. Basically, exposed, but only if you are freeing yourself from a trap. If you are wondering if the time-based exposed effects stack, they do not. Whichever effect has the longer duration will take priority, and override the weaker exposed effect. And that is Exposed, a deadly status effect that will put survivors into the dying state automatically if hit by a killer's melee attack. Just remember, you can look on the left side of your screen to know what is causing the exposed status effect, and then you can look at the right side where the skull icon is to know how long it's lasting. If you do not see an outer gray circle indicating a timer, that means the exposed lasts as long as whatever is causing it is in play. If this video helped you out, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to stay updated with my latest videos. To support my channel even more, click on the join button. If you know anyone this video could help out, make sure to share it with them. And if you have any additional questions, comment below and I will help you out. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, good luck out there in the fog, and see ya next time.